Have you ever just thought, oh, people are always saying I'm too young or I'm doing too much, but you know that the things you're doing are just in line with what God will have you do? That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about all things, doing things when you're young, you're fearless, you're bold, and just being multi-passionate and doing work as God will have you do it. Hi everyone, welcome again to the It Ends With Me podcast. Today's episode is special. It is absolutely special. I'm so excited to have it. I have one of my friends, my partners, my legacy partners, my sister in Christ here, and we're going to be having a wholesome conversation. Have you ever just thought, oh, people are always saying I'm too young or I'm doing too much, but you know that the things you're doing are just in line with what God will have you do? That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about all things, doing things when you're young, you're fearless, you're bold, and just being multi-passionate and doing work as God will have you do it. And today I have one of my very best of friends here to just have this conversation with me. I have with me Miracle.
Hi.
Welcome to the chair. Welcome to the couch.
Thank you. It's quite comfy.
It's quite comfy. I love our new setting. If you haven't noticed,
upgraded. You all are not ready.
We're global now.
Yeah, they are not ready for us.
Today's episode is going to be, if we laugh too much, just know that that's just...
Hey, fans me. This is not my real face. Please, I'm a quiet girl. I just want to say, in case you see me outside, thank you for having me. Yeah.
So good to have you here. Please do me the honors of introducing yourself. I know I asked you to send a bio, but I'm switching it up a bit. And yes, let's start with an intro. Yes.
If your own friends, you will send the old bio, but no. They want, I should read the bio or I should just talk.
You can read it, you can talk about, I think I just want it to be, I think what I've done with the other guests has been very real, very on the spot, and very personal.
So just very, okay, it's fine. I'm gonna do on the spot.
Yes.
And hi everyone, my name is Miracle Ikwawaji. Some people call me Miranel. To some people I'm product sis. You understand? To some people I'm the catalyst. So I am a product manager by profession, and during the daytime, I work as a group product manager for one of the leading language learning companies. I would say in Europe or in the entire world. So,
big babe.
I'm humble, please. So that's by day. On some other days, I am a catalyst that is committed to helping individuals maximize their potential. So basically leaning into their original design in God and translating that into what I call vocational identity. So it's something that I'm very passionate about. So in summary, you cannot meet me and live the same. Your baby must sleep around
your
me,
life
right?
Never remained the same.
Testimony.
Never.
So,
Evidence day.
Let me be serious. Okay.
Oh my, I love that. And like I always say, I think people are so multifaceted, it is impossible for you to say that you're going to put someone in a box, because there's so much that they can be. Look at you beyond your 9 to 5, you have all these other expressions, right, that you have. And you're young, which I think is...
No loud down too much.
We'll not say a village here.
Yes, I identify
as Dash.
Gen I.
Got it. That's why you're my friend.
Gen intimacy. Yes, that's
I love it. So I love the fact that it's multifaceted. You're young, you're doing all these things, and you're doing this in obedience to God. We're going to go into all of those conversations, but we're going to start with icebreakers. I didn't add it to your outline as always, so that you can think and not overthink it. I just want the first
I feel like with me it's going to be the other way around. don't overthink it, but yeah.
Don't
Okay.
overthink it. Just say the
Yeah.
first thing that comes to your mind
Glad to.
when you hear it, right? So, what is one thing that people always tell you you're too young for?
I'm taking time, Abby. You will know why in a bit. Too young to dream big. I'll say dream big because my dreams are definitely bigger than me. My friends know. You don't want to. Yeah.
Yes.
Too
I'm
young.
a friend.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll say to dream as big as I currently dream, if that makes sense. So yeah.
And do you think that this is something you've heard over time, or you've just sort of perceived that people?
Yeah, so it hasn't really been targeted at me personally. Again, as the conversation continues, it will make sense. But it's something I've noticed to be very common amongst like young people like myself. So it's something when they try to reach for the sky, you see people trying to talk down on their dreams or them thinking about their imaginations, kind of watering it down. Who do you think you are? Because maybe they tried to do it and they couldn't achieve it and they end up projecting their insecurities on you. And so
That's the word, projecting their
Calm down,
insecurities. We just started. We just arrived.
It's the first time coming. I just arrived.
notice it amongst like other people, either my age or just people that are classified as young people, that they can't be themselves. They can't, especially with this current generation, and by generation now, Generation Z, my generation, although I identify as millennial, but yeah. And again, you understand why soon.
Pick one.
I'm Gen I, we already
Gen I,
agreed,
bam.
right? But it's something that I've noticed. They can't be themselves. When they are curious, they see it as them being rebellious. But that's not the case. There's just a whole lot to unpack there. So like that dreaming big is something.
I love that. And now let's pick the opposite of that.
Okay.
What is one thing that you feel you're actually too young to be doing?
Adults. Adulting.
The person who says she's supposed to be dreaming big. You don't want to adult.
See, that's the contradiction now. Adult, there are days where I jump on the call. I'm like, Mommy, I'm just a baby girl.
This is not the life you promised
This is not.
me.
Do you know,
This is not
it's
the
so
life I was
funny that when we
promised.
were young, like by younger, we
Younger.
always wanted to, grow. I don't want to be my father's house.
meats.
Do you understand?
2 meats.
Your one is 2 means. I want to vex and maybe go and book an apartment. I have my own apartment so that my father will not annoy me. But yeah, adulting, I'll say it's not. We've not entered deep yet, so it's quite. So yeah, adulting, because sometimes when you look at the pressure, and for me personally, I look at the pressure, I look at my age. The math is not mathing. Because I feel like since I came into this world, I've been walking from my mother's womb. I'm sure with the kind of people around me. So I think my own case is different. There's context to what I'm saying. So I think I've just been, my brain, my body, everything has been working since I stepped into this world. And so yeah, so when adulting then hits properly, I was like, wow. Wow.
Adulthood na scam. It's not a scam for
It's
me.
not a
Jesus.
scam, people of God. I'm just this.
But
Definitely
yes,
not
I
a
get
scam.
it.
It's part of
I
life.
get it. It's part of-
Life's journey.
But they
You
did not prepare us.
You can never be
not
prepared. That's why you need to hold God tight.
Yes.
Because what better way to do life than with the one who created life? Because if you want to do it from, oh God.
Adulting.
Nah, I say, thank God for God. Every day I wake up, I say, God, I
Thanks.
thank you for you. Because I don't know how people are navigating life without God.
I actually don't.
It's I talk to people, so I'm always amazed. Like, you need Jesus in your life. But yeah.
Adulting. We'll get to that. We'll
Okay.
get to that.
Thank you very much.
And finally,
Thank God though.
if age wasn't a factor and money was not a problem, what's the first thing you'll start tomorrow?
I feel like I'm already doing it.
Hey! Flex. Energy.
Is it a flex?
Energy.
coaching.
Coaching, I love that.
You know, I'm a coachy. So I really enjoy just helping people gain clarity about themselves. So visionary, clarity, purpose. So I just want to help people not just navigate life, but help them maximize their genius, basically. And so if I didn't have to deal with 9 to 5, you know this already. In our conversations, I want to be able to sit with you and cause that seed that is in your womb to grow into a mighty tree, either prophetically or actual clarity work.
Clarity.
Like we would drill it together.
Yeah.
So that's something. So coaching and teaching, again, I'm also living in it. So I like to say that I'm not a teacher by profession, but I'm a teacher by purpose. So you see it in my everyday. So how I try to break down complex ideologies to help people get clarity, either at work, in my conversations with people, my friends and things like that. I'm always looking for a way to make it easy for you to be able to grasp. So I'm already living in it, just not at the bigger scale, because
I love that.
90, you need money.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think it's also just a cue to saying that you can start living the life that you want to live now. You don't necessarily need to get to a certain age to start living. You might not necessarily live it
At the
like you said,
scale.
at the scale.
Yeah,
but you can start building it
Principle
now.
of small beginnings.
Small
and,
beginnings. I absolutely, and I feel like you gave the answer that I wasn't really expecting, but at the same time,
I told you today I will shock you with my answers because
it was
it's
good.
Really,
It was good. I think it just sort of shattered that mindset of you have to get to a certain age to start doing.
I mean, there are some things that you, again, back to the word, that's why I love the word skill.
Yeah.
So maybe God has shown you some things, or just in your imagination, because God works with our minds.
Yeah.
And so you might want to be here, but you're not able to do it at that level. And so what's the smallest version? In product management, we'll say your MVP.
Yeah,
your minimum
exactly.
viable product. So I bring that mindset or that principle into everything I do.
Being the product.
Because you guys don't want to know what's in my head. I want to travel the world, not just for like leisure and everything, but I see myself like in rooms with people just drilling down on either life's question or just helping them gain clarity on the idea that is burning in their heart. And with whiteboards and things. So I'm not able to do that now, but in my little way, either via product sales or even via Legacy Tribe. I did mention Legacy Tribe when we'll get there. Legacy Tribe, like a small community, we are not small, community of visionary leaders are committed to building things that outlive them. And so I do that there, but it's not at the scale like my prophetic prototype DDK. You see what she's doing with Immerse. Now that's where we are going.
And bigger.
Yeah,
and
we're
bigger.
starting something.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So I always like taking, after the icebreakers, I always like, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's backtrack.
Editor, do like this.
The two of us are not serious.
We can't be serious on this podcast. I pray that the Spirit of the Lord would, give you clarity, that the eyes of your understanding will be flooded with light. You will collect what we are, in the midst of this laugh. You will receive wisdom. You receive insights. Amen. Because,
Amen. So I think one of the things I want us to backtrack to is when you were growing up, right? Okay. Because we might not necessarily say ages here, but growing up is still a couple of years back, right? Did you ever feel that weight of you're too young to do something? And how did that shape you? Did it ever affect how you sort of like lead, you build, you learn? Did it affect who you are today? Maybe I want to know what the negatives were and what the positives were.
Now, so it begins, because this is where I will bring perspectives that are not normal. So, hearing you're too young, did it shape? Yes and no, because of how I approached it. So for me, and before I get to if it was a weight, because I think that question, the word weight, really stood out to me. For me, hearing you're too young was not a weight, it was a propelling force for me personally. I know when we think about young people, many a times it's quite unfortunate that we live in a society, especially with every time they're always attacking my generation. We're not doing it to you. We live in a society that has a very unhealthy and stereotypical view of who a young person is or what they're able to do, basically. And many times, you won't blame them, because sometimes the people in the generation or the young people, they don't make it easy, right? But it also means that they focus more on the bad eggs and forget about the other, good ones, right? And then that kind of fuels the stereotype even more. So it's more like people just associate being young with certain traits, like you're not serious, you don't know what you're doing, and what do you think you are? Sorry, I'm going to be saying a lot of who do you think you are.
I want
in this
to hear
episode,
those
because
words.
I have seen things.
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think
Especially
you
if you're
are?
Nigerian.
That's the context, right? And I mean, for the one around the traits or the stereotype around who do you think you are, or you're too they kind of doubt your ability. To an extent, I understand, because again, one thing I'm learning in life is that there are some things experience would have to teach you. That one is fun. It doesn't mean that your outcome has to be the same as those who have gone ahead of you. For you, it should be easier, because you are not just experiencing, you don't just have the opportunity to kind of navigate the same experience they did, but you're operating from a place of higher wisdom or more like knowledge at your disposal. And so I get when they say, oh, you know that what a father sees sitting down, if you climb behind,
You cannot see it.
it makes sense. But there's another extreme to it, because my father has said a lot of things, don't worry. I know there's another extreme, because these people, they just operate from, I think they leverage the fact that they are older than you, and that's the only thing they have to show for it. I think that's where I had an issue growing up. The fact that when you're saying that I'm too young, or you're saying, oh, I don't have the ability because I'm young, is only from a place of, it's just the number, it's just the age, or I've lived on this earth longer than you. So I have like 30, 40. And while that is commendable, when we look at the 30, 40 years, I'm looking for fruits and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
And so you find out that people's ego are just fueled by the number, but there's nothing tangible to show for it. And that's where I have a problem, because if you're telling me I'm too young, I should be able to look at you and get something that will at least help me in this my young age. Yeah. But no, I don't really get that. And so that's one issue I have with that statement. Like, if you really dig deep, most times it's fueled by, one, you still need to go through life. Because I honestly, this adulting, I'm adulting like this, there are some things that you still have to go through. But I'm grateful to God for the wisdom, the knowledge, the kind of exposure I had early on, because I'm able to navigate it better. I'm able to show up better in spite of what's going on. Then you have the other extreme that don't talk when I'm talking. Do you get that
what
kind of thing?
Know?
So back to your question about like the weight, how did it shape how I grew up, or how I lead and things like that? For me, being young is not, or was not a weight. It's still not a weight, because I'm still young, guys. See, this is my life. I'm still quite young. I'm still quite young,
which is a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah. So it wasn't a weight. It was more of a propelling force, because I am young. I get to do X, Y, Z. There's something DDK said. DDK is my mentor. Youth is a bankable currency, and there are different factors as to why that is the case. One, you have the leverage of age, which is good. You're in a season where there are certain things you can afford to do. You can be agile with your decisions, because again, people say in your 20s, that's even when you should take more risk. Not in go and be taking risk up and down and giving your parents high BP or giving your friends BP. Please, calculated risk, led by the spirit. You understand? But it just dawned on me that I get to really discover me. Right. So it wasn't a weight, it was more of like a propelling force. And also I found out that other people that were young like me, and why I say it wasn't a weight is because how I grew up was quite different. I was not necessarily surrounded by my age mates. And so it's not like, so the kind of people that I was surrounded by kind of did like a different, I don't know how to put it, like it just shaped my mindset differently. Can you imagine my 13th birthday? I promise you, I can count how many of people there were in my party that was my age mate, like 1 or 2. The rest, professors, politicians. I was asking my father, Kini, she na 13-year-old birthday, what's going on? But it kind of did something to me. And if you notice in my friendship circle, most of my friends currently, most of them turned 30 this year. No shit.
She's saying people are old.
calm down. But yeah, it wasn't a problem for me. It was more of like, it's something I'm used to. So I didn't even think it was an issue even in the world. Because to me, I'm young. I have, in quote, time. Though the time is quite limited as well. But I have time. It wasn't, oh, I'm young. I need to go and hide in this thing because people would think of me somehow. However, another thing it did to me being young, again, we live in a society that doesn't really have proper understanding of that. So they want to, like, again, to shield myself from the whole talking down, because I don't like, please, if you're not gonna help me, don't come and start talking down on the dreams or whatever God has put. So I took some measures to just shield my mind, but at the core of it, being young was not a problem. I think for me, it was more of a personality thing, especially when you're walking in obedience at that young age. I've been doing a lot of things at a very young age. At the age of, I think, 15, I was already a leader in my main church. Not teenage church. I don't think I ever entered teenage church like that. First, I was an assistant ushering department leader in my main church for like 2 years. And then I think at the age of 17, 18, I was like choir leader in my church at the same time. And so I've had to work with people twice my age. I've had to lead people twice my age. And in the midst of that, the first thing that came to my mind was not necessarily I'm young. It's more of my personality. If any of my friends know me, like, I'm quite reserved. Some people will not agree, but I'm actually quite introverted. I like, on the spectrum, I'm more introverted than extroverted. You only see the other side of me around people like this woman here, right? But if you've lived with me, you will know that one, for a fact, like my housemate to testify that it doesn't mean I'm shy. It's just more of like an energy management thing. Yeah. And so many times when God asked me to do something, or when I needed to do something in an unfamiliar territory, it wasn't about, Lord, I'm too small. It's more like, how shall these things be, Lord? Because again, back to your young, don't be saying money plenty like that. My first, I think at the age of 16, I was, challenged to do a worship meeting. I think first it was a Christmas carol meeting. I was 18, because that's when I became the choir leader, 17, 18. I remember one time they had changed our resident pastor, and then a new pastor came, and this was around November. First of all, they made me the leader in November, first of all, but he came late November into September. I will never forget that they were outside. It was like, Auntie, they say you're the choir leader, B? Yes, sir. We must have carol this Christmas.
At the end of November?
I had 3 weeks. So for me, it was more about funds, because again, I'm not necessarily working, right? And then having to like deal with people. I think that's one thing God is working with me on in this adult age, like trying to navigate people's personality. Like if you're a strong personality and you're around me, it kind of, though now I'm a bit better, but back then it was a struggle as well. So people might see it and say, oh, you're just young, but that was not necessarily the case. Having to put my foot down, now I'm better at putting my foot down, because I had to realize that if you're going to do what God is going to ask you to do more, you have to address these weaknesses, right? And so I remember you would do Christmas carol, and we did it. And people, like, the house was packed. How we did it, where the money came from, I don't know. I really don't know. And then our next worship meeting, same thing. So yeah, I don't know if that answered the question, but I have stories for this, just trying to make sure.
I think it did, because when you're growing up, some of the things you hear are, wait your turn. It's not yet time. You are too young.
Yeah, your body is
doing you think you are. Yes, like it's just this youthful exuberance. That youthful exuberance. If I catch the person that made that word, I can't imagine.
And some people don't understand what it means.
They don't even know what it means.
That's the annoying thing. Things just get. I think that's another thing next time me, like when it comes to living in this world, is that once it's trending, That's it.
Any small thing, youthful exuberance, somebody just maybe opposes what somebody says, right? It's just youthful exuberance. Don't worry.
All these gra, early morning gra, like it will fade away.
I like the fact that you brought a balance to it, and you spoke about where there is a need to learn from experience, but there has to be fruit to show from the experience that I'm learning from. And I just want to know what your Jeremiah 1:7 moment was. That's where God told Jeremiah, do not say you are a child, or do not say you are a youth. I have put my words in your mouth. Is there any moment that just came to your mind where somebody was like, who is this small girl? And you were just like, no, this is what I think God is telling me to do, and I'm going to do it.
I feel like I've given some of the examples already, but because I started by saying for me it was not necessarily just the age thing, more personality, so it's gonna be quite hard like answering that. I've had lots of moments where I had to walk in obedience that was kind of at war with who I am and maybe in the sight of others my age. Right, so in terms of leadership capacities, I've had to be in rooms where I had to work with people that were not my age. So I think what usually creeps in for situations like this is, people call it imposter syndrome. Right? So when you have to walk in obedience, but then again, there's that fleshy part of you, in as much as you have conviction and you have audacity to still show up, but you can't just help but, what am I doing here? So that comes, the reason why I'm not tying it to just being young is because it happens, everybody at different levels. So I think it will be leadership for me in different capacities, where maybe at some point it came up, especially if you're working with people that their ego is quite high when it comes to, I'm older than you. I'm one to respect those I work with. People that have worked with me, people I've been privileged to work with, people I've been privileged to be friends with, they know that I honor them. So it's not, for me, it's not like an age thing, right? So back to leadership. Leadership, I might not give just one moment, but I think in my course of leading, I've had to navigate that from ushering departments. I mean, back then when we did crusade, I had to we used like a whole open field. It's like, God, why am I here, Lord?
You don't pay for this world, though.
It's just that I've not shared this.
50-year-old woman inside this body.
So from ushering to choir to, coming to the UK, also led choir here as well, assisted MD, then MD also work as well. Currently, the kind of people I work with, they are in their 30s, 40s, and I'm the one leading the team. And so from time to time, now when I think about it, that I'm young and these people are older than me, actually kind of stirs up gratitude in my heart. I was like, God, thank you that I got exposed early, and that then propels me to challenge other people that are as young as me to kind of step up as well. It's possible. So I want to be that mirror of possibility, that this person is doing it in this capacity, I can do it as well. You don't have to be all over the place as a young person. You leverage, and for young people, back to, we are curious. A lot of people see, again, I mentioned something at the beginning, they see our curiosity as rebellion, like you want to always oppose, you want to challenge, but that's not the case. It just so happens that we are able to, address things in such a way that you did not have the opportunity to, just so we have balance, because a lot of things in society has just gone on, everywhere is just chaotic. And so we now have a generation, now I'm going to go to my generation, Gen Z, that they are questioning everything. Now, I know there are some of them that take it to the extreme, but I think we actually need to have that balance. You can't just be living life without actually proper assessment, without actual proper assessment. That's not life. Because how do you, leverage hindsight, right, and also extract insight to be able to fuel your foresight? It's not. Oh,
Jesus.
It's not connected.
You're too smart. Did you just see that word play? Oh my God.
but
I get it.
So
I love that. And I just want to do, and this is something I do, where I just do a quick pattern check, right? Because sometimes it's easy to tell the stories, but not pinpoint. There was something you said, right, that just picked as a pattern, imposter syndrome, and maybe not necessarily relating to just age, but if you're somebody who is doing something that is new, that is different, that is higher, you're in a newer space, or it is seemingly looking like you're doing too much, imposter syndrome is that pattern that you just always see come up, right? That even if you will be feeling it in yourself, but other people will now start feeling it for you. like it's so funny because like sometimes you feel it, okay,
God,
you feel like an imposter, but there are also people who feel the imposter syndrome for you, that they're like, who is this one? Where did she come from? That's them feeling like this person is not meant to be here. This person is an imposter, right? That's, I think a lot of times we dwell on imposter syndrome from the place of the person feeling it internally.
That's a very interesting
that
take.
we don't look at other people who think this person should not be here. This person is an imposter, whether by being too young or the person
maybe they don't have as much experience. So sometimes it's not just about the age, but because if you look at it, there are some people that actually have more experience.
Exactly.
And they have too much experience for their age.
Exactly.
Like, how did you get that? Because I'm looking forward to those conversations in a couple of years, because when I look back, I was like, oh, how did you?
And I think so many times we have focused on that one that is very internal. You go everywhere, they ask you what has been the problem. The first thing everybody will say is, oh, I used to feel like an imposter, right? I don't think we talk enough about the people who also make you feel like an imposter, who contribute, right? Yeah, who contribute to you
back
feeling
to the statement of you're doing too much.
Exactly.
So that's now the outcome, or
you are
that's
not
like
meant
the
to
end.
be here.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times, I always say this thing, you are looking at the world through rose-colored glasses most of the times. You think you're seeing clearly until you actually begin to see that there was probably somebody when you were growing up who said, this girl, you too, they do. Your body too.
One literally told me that why you are around people that are bigger than you.
It's always like, or even
excuse me,
you're too mature for your age.
I always get that.
It's not the flex.
It's not necessarily a compliment. Yeah,
right.
I do get that. That one, I get it a lot.
It's not it at all.
Like,
so I really just wanted to take a pause and just highlight that imposter syndrome does not always just come from within, but it can also be something that people have heaped on you.
And I like that you brought it that way, still on the pattern check. When you talk about like people heaping on you, I want to give two perspectives. One, we've already flogged enough, which is the fact that most times it comes from, so two eyes, intimidation and ignorance, genuine ignorance. So for the intimidation, we've already talked about, like, this is just them projecting their insecurity. So you're basically living a life that they dreamed of. So not necessarily, money, glam and everything. It's just that you get to take up opportunities that they wish they had taken up at that time, and maybe in their book it's too late for them. I don't believe that it's too late for them to take it up, right? So that's intimidation. There's now ignorance. So this is where I my life's work specializes. The fact that they genuinely don't understand, right? So we, as humans, we are all shaped by experiences and exposures. And one thing I'm learning, or at least God has been teaching me in this past 1 year, or the last few months, not even that long, is the fact that there are some people that genuinely don't get what you're trying to do, genuinely don't understand what you're trying to do. Now, it just so happened that society has just given them a language for it, and it's a wrong one. So they just lean into the stereotype, right, of you're doing too much. But if you really probe and you go deep, you realize that they were not exposed to this kind of things. And if you should educate them, they will actually understand where you're coming from. I used to live my life in a bubble where I feel like, people should know certain things. But as you go through life, you understand that sometimes you actually have to bring them in, have to educate them subtly, depending on who you're talking to. And don't just assume people know things. For my kind of person, the kind of people I got exposed to, especially my teenage years, they really shaped me. So you're thinking of me at 16, 15, I'm listening to, it's even funny me, I know Discover Emilia, Miles Monroe,
Yeah. Yeah.
DDK.
I advise everyone
right?
to do that.
Who again? Ibuka Oshika. Like,
Yeah.
so not everybody got that exposure, and I'd already started asking God specific questions that either stemmed from those conversations that I engaged with online, or just me asking questions. I was able to like get to the clarity that's taking me this far. But there are some people, they didn't grow up that way, and where it really dawned on me that genuine ignorance can be part of it, that they don't hate you, it's not envy. It might come off as envy, but they genuinely don't understand. It started with my friendship circle. I remember, you see this doing too much, very funny. I remember 3 years ago, I was speaking to one of my coaches. I was like, am I doing too much? Because I felt frustrated. It felt like in my circle, I was the only one, dreams, and the dreams is not even in sense of normal thing you do in life, because as a believer is different, right? When you dream, you're dreaming with God. And so like the way I will be building things, or at least my mind, I'm trying to think of solution. So in my circle, it felt like I'm doing too much. Like, is it that my life is unusual, or what? I'm sure my diet is different. And so I asked my coach that question. I was like, am I doing too much? Or what do you do when you feel like you are doing too much? It's not like maybe someone has projected it, but you just observe in your environment that, because honestly, you get tired of being the only one standing out. Like me, say, for all of us, let's stand out together. Get that? Pardon me. And she said something, at least in the context of friendship, that you need to get to a point where you realize that not all of your friends will be the same thing to you. I know people that I can go to for certain things, so you can't be expecting, because I'm all visionary and I expect you to be that. I mean, if you can't, glory to God. And so while that is a different context, I think for me, it just dawned on me that people are genuinely at different places in their lives. And so while they can do better at, accommodating your kind of person, some people, they need to be educated about it and bringing them in. Again, you're not Jesus Christ, so know where to draw the line. Because I used to fall for that savior complex. At the current for it. And so that kind of weighed me down a bit. Like, I'm the only one. It felt like maybe I'm not the only one. It felt like I was the only one carrying this body, this vision. I couldn't talk to my friends about it, or at least the friends I had at the time, because they won't understand. And so it's even less about only just being young, to be fair. I feel like a lot of people that have that burden or doing too much, this thing, they face that. And so, that really highlighted the whole ignorance thing about doing too much. And in that one self, just find your tribe and make camp there.
I
always say it. You don't have to demand, because it will help you manage your expectations. So with that, I know that I just prayerfully told God, I was like, God, just send. At this point, I'm not going to discard my other friends. I love them. I still show up for them, but I'm not going to demand some things from them. They will catch up, right? As long as I know, especially if they are not opportunists, I know the friends that actually, they might not get why I do what I do, although I would wish that they show up more for me, but it's just not gonna happen. So to protect that relationship and protect me as well, I just walk with them from where they are, and I tell God, send me my teacher, send me my tribe, and I make camp there. And so my people, that's in terms of friends that you can do budding, vision, this is my legacy partner, by the way, if you guys don't know, just chipping in there. And so God started bringing people. So that's one side of the imposter syndrome, that you sometimes extend grace to them.
So it's essentially, you drop the imposter syndrome by prayer. You mentioned prayer, speaking to God about it, but also finding your tribe.
Finding your tribe.
I think there's also a bit of non-comparison, because you can think about comparison in terms of somebody doing better, but sometimes comparison also comes from a place of, I have this big vision, but who am I to have this big vision when my mates are maybe just thinking about finishing school or thinking about getting the next.
I will pray for you. that mindset.
Like it's a mindset. It's a mindset that a number of
when your friends are in school.
Like if you are.
That's just going to feel mediocrity though. But
I think it's something that goes on. I remember being in school, and some of the things, maybe school is even far back. There are some things that I do now, right? And I remember going back home and wanting to organize like an event in Nigeria, and when I told some of my friends, right, about it, they were just like, "You've come again." I can remember specifically
That come
somebody
again.
who said,
Once I hear it, you're not for me.
Right?
You're not a bad person.
You're not a bad person,
but you're not for
and
me.
To be honest, I think it just helped me know that I needed to protect my energy, right, and protect visions, especially visions that I'm very sure it is God that has given to me, right. So some people will say, you didn't tell me you were doing this. I'll say, yes, I am not going to tell you because your response to it is not. So I really love that we identified the old mindset, which is that imposter syndrome, which rears its head sometimes. But knowing that through prayer, through your tribe, the right set of people around you, right, you can actually overcome that being too young or doing too much.
Yeah, another thing that will help, like 2-3 things. I feel like this will touch on other questions. I think number one is when subject of imposter syndrome, just understand that it's never going to go away. If you like, become 30, 40, where you're no longer classified as young. When you reach there, you will now be an imposter. Who is this old person? Just know that they go. So basically, what just reduces its impact on your life is how you respond, how you choose to respond to it when it comes up. And one thing that helps in your response is like the next 2 things I'm going to say. As a young person or anybody, to be fair, this can go for anybody. It's important that you have. So these 2 points will tie into each other. Like, you need to get to a point where you know who you are. So this who you are in different levels now. There's who you are, especially for the believer, who you are in Christ. That kind of opens your mind to your realities in Christ. So what you have access to, right? So at the basics or foundation, if the enemy tries to rear his head, you know how to channel and get out of here, right? There's also who has God called. So I'm going to break it into 2. Who has God called you and who has God called you to be? Before I would just say who has God called you to be, but just meditating, I was like, who has God called you? Because sometimes if you check well, there are patterns in your life. Either he will tell you the word explicitly, like, this is who you are, or sometimes you have to pause, partnering with the Spirit of God and thinking through your life thus far and getting that word. Or who has he called you to be, or who do you think he has called you to be? At my introduction, I said something around me being a catalyst. I had to own that recently because I've checked through my life, and it's something that is very consistent. You can't come around me and your baby will not leap. You can't come around me and you will not be awakened to the call of God on your life. Either you'll be awakened to the call or you realize that there's something wrong that we need to, and it's not to condemn or anything. It's for you to realize that, okay, I need to step up. And so a catalyst is someone that does that, like ignites you, like kickstarts something in you. And so whether it's Product Sis, whether it's Legacy Tribe, whether it's just me as Miracle, that is me. And that then fuels my conviction. And so while imposter syndrome, when it comes up, it's more of a feeling than your actual reality. And so I'm reminded of who I am, who God has called me to be in that space. If you said I'm a woman in ministry and industry, my flesh might be fleshing, but my spirit and the Spirit of God in me, I always say this thing, that God's Spirit in me is his capacity in me. And I'm not, if you're shaking too much, it means that you're operating your own strength. And so just letting go and letting God is another formula that will help you tackle that. Again, the imposter syndrome will come again. So that's why conviction is key, and I always emphasize it. You must have conviction, and you must have what is fueling your conviction, which is your identity in Christ. Who has God called you? Who has he called you to be? And the last one is, what kind of transformation do you seek to make in the world? Vision. Anybody around me, I'm always talking about vision. Like, there must be a future that you're seeing, and it helps shapes your decision. So if imposter syndrome can be like, you go shall wait small, because work day.
We're going somewhere.
Work is like if the fear want to hold my neck, I'll go and eat and sleep. It's not easy, I promise you. Especially when you're working with God, because God speaks to you from where he is, and so whatever he's telling you is big. And so just as he's telling you, just be waiting to receive imposter syndrome first. I'm not saying she will keep him there, but receive it first, put it one side and say, okay, how shall these things be, Lord? right? And so they are just, I could go on and on, to be fair, on different angles on this, but yeah.
That's
God
so
got
key.
God got you.
That's so key, because I think one of the questions I think I sent to you was just identifying that one mindset behind why people will say you're too young or you're doing too much. And I like the fact that we've identified that it is imposter syndrome. And now we're building up on that and saying these are the 3 ways that you can overcome imposter syndrome. And I just want us to now move into, we've spoken about doing
too much.
We've spoken about being, in quotes, too young, which I don't think I believe. Now we have 16-year-olds that are making billions from 16. Their startups.
From the womb. First of all, they're already signing brand deals. I will admit that I'm still young.
I need the money, and it's...
What was my parents? What were they doing? But you can't come and start comparing yourself.
Look at your
So if, like, at my age currently, or at the age I started those things, what happened to 2-3 years brand deals? Anyway.
I mean, I think we are now going to be in a world where too young is not going to be going to be an excuse anymore.
It's not.
Because you have child prodigies now, child geniuses. Kids have access to so many things. Teenagers have access to so. There's not going to be anything like you are too young, or just like, it's not going to be a concern, right? Going forward. Yeah. But I now want us to focus on the doing too much, as in the next couple of minutes, which is just really understanding, because there needs to be a balance, right? When you're somebody who is seemingly doing too much, not that you're doing too much yourself, but when you're seemingly doing too much, how do you balance the multiple things that God will have you do? Or even the things, because I mean, there are some things that God will have you do, but you also have career, right? How do you, in this last segment, how do we sort of balance it? Especially if you are because it's largely multi-passionate people that they say are doing too much, right? So let's touch on that, and let's give practical tips on how people can actually balance being multi-passionate, or maybe being clearly gifted, or having multiple expressions.
Like, that's the word.
Yeah, multiple expressions.
Because the word passion sometimes, it can be a box on its own. So I'll say expressions. You
multiple
are one person.
Yes.
Especially for the believer, you're one person in Christ, and out of that, just like the Spirit of God, by the same Spirit.
Yes, by
healing,
the same Spirit.
by the same Spirit.
Exactly.
Scholar. So multiple expressions.
It's how she pauses to hype herself.
I said I would try to.
Yes.
I'm tempted to say Pastor Peter will be proud.
He will. I'll say it. I was actually
my
going to
ministry
mention
gift will be proud anyway. Okay, so what's the question?
So how do people balance being having multiple expressions?
Yeah. This is
one, the last question,
I feel I won't say glory to God, but why is there glory to God? Because I'm not sad. I enjoy talking to people, if you can tell. So multiple expression, this one is a very hard thing. I've had to learn, and I'm still learning. I feel like it's the same for every multi-faceted person, multi-potential. Like, you always try to find your rhythm. But before I even go to finding your rhythm, there's something while I was preparing, and I don't sound spiritual. I am spiritual, was meditating. And it just dawned on me that when we look at expressions, we need to understand that it's kind of split into 2. So everything I'll be saying is in no particular order, so that my train of thoughts will not be lost. So split into 2. So there's 2S. There's what I call surface expression and supporting expression. Many a times we feel because we are multi-faceted or we are multi-potentialite, everything has to be in the surface. There are some things that you are naturally wired or naturally gifted that are not necessarily meant to be in the surface or the forefront of your assignment or who you are. There are things that there are assignments it has to be forefront. There are some things that are needed for the back end. So trying to identify that, and it's not a fixed thing that you do it now and that's the end. As you're evolving, that should evolve to your understanding of it would evolve to in a practical way now, because I like to say sometimes that I'm at the core. I rarely say it, but I like to say sometimes I rarely say it. Pardon me. At the core of who I am, I'm a leader. It's something that I've just had to own now. I rarely said before, but yeah. But it doesn't mean that because I'm passionate about leadership or I've had my own experience. I'm passionate about leadership being done right. You see me, I'll go and put in my bio or something. Public speaker, leadership principle. I see leadership as a back-end tool for the assignments God have given to me. That's the assignments that will be at the forefront. Same thing with creativity. I do design, but don't bring
like good, so good.
Don't bring your work to me, please. Please let us know what we are doing. But I bring that knowledge into my other projects or that of my friends, right? Because but there are some people that designing or creative, those things will be the forefront. Like for example, again, shameless plug, Carlos.
Yes, Carlos created agency.
Right. Carlos created the brand identity, visual identity for It Ends With Me podcast, and being led or co-founded by amazing friends Ayobami. Hi. Understanding
support.
Understanding your surface versus your supporting is key, because it kind of cuts down the overwhelm. Because one thing that is consistent, or we experience as multi-potentialites, is the fact that we are constantly overwhelmed. If you tell me rest, my friends are telling me rest, I will sleep. In my dream, or my mind is just running, right? And so me understanding the things that are forefront and things that are supporting primarily kind of helps me navigate burnout, navigate overwhelm, navigate the multiple expressions. Then another thing I'll say is the fact that yes, you have multiple expression. I mean, you look like your daddy. There's something I was saying. I told myself when I was young. It's like, my Father in heaven cannot be multi-dimensional, and you expect me to be. Could make sense. It makes sense, right? Now, while that is wisdom, they say, is profitable to direct. So you need to understand that you cannot steward all your expressions at the same time. Now, I'm not saying that you should steward if you have the capacity, because at the end of the day, grace is also available. So you need to understand the seasons where grace has been made available to steward certain things. There are seasons where you'll be able to steward 3 expressions, but not at the same level. It's just like what I'm doing right now. Product 6 is at the forefront. Legacy Tribe is there, but it's somewhere, and there are like other things that are not really forefront, right? So that wisdom is also key. Trying to understand, yes, I have multiple expressions. Okay, for the surfacing ones, which one am I meant to steward now? Because that will now help you build systems and structures for them to stand in such a way you're able to step into the next. I always use DDK as an example because she's my prophetic prototype. You see what DDK is doing? Sometimes I'm like, God, I just want to live in her head for one day. Inner circle, visionary compass, ideation hub. She has so many things, and I'm like, it's possible, but then again, there's a wisdom that is powering that. And so be okay with starting. You can start with 2 if there's grace, right? I'm not all for just 1, and that's it. But then again, in the world we live in, you see, one has to be amplified more than the other. Doesn't mean you're not working on the others, but one is just has like higher visibility. I think that's the word. So not just focus. You're still stewarding the rest, but one has higher visibility. So that one is key, like stewarding the different expressions or assignment per time. Another thing is just also to help with overwhelm and multi-potentialite and all. The principle of small beginning. Many a times, because we are multi-potentialite, sometimes when we are doing one thing, we never finish them. Another one is coming, right? And even when we are doing what we are doing, we kind of invite anxiety. What do I mean by that? Because the way we received the idea or the expression was more of the finished product, or actually when you're partnering with the Spirit of God, it will be the bigger version. So we get overwhelmed by the thought of that we fail to be faithful steward in the smaller version of that now. And so one thing I'm learning, even of recent, is that these things are possible. They will still happen as Jesus tarries. But then again, you must be disciplined to embrace the principle of small beginning as a multi-potentialite. So for me, what that will look like is I've shared Product 6 vision with you countless number of time. But what that means right now is just stewarding the content creator side of things, trying to build like my coaching program, small till we get there. And then also, it also could mean small beginning. Okay, this just came now. Small beginning could also look like you synthesizing. What do I mean by that? When I started Product 6, apart from the normal story, I didn't have someone that would work with me and things like that. At the time, because I'm a coach by heart and I really wanted to steward my coaching expression, I didn't want it to just, now I can leverage it for different things, Legacy Tribe and all. But at the time, I didn't want it to go. But then again, I didn't have the bandwidth to be able to prepare myself to do maybe executive coaching or life coaching or anything. And so I was like, where am I currently? I'm currently building my career, product management. Do I see myself, stewarding this in terms of outside of work? I said, okay, I have the coaching expression, I have the product management practical skills, and I merge that, and that's Product 6. And so I'm able to do both expressions. I'm good at my job, right, as a product manager, but I'm able to bring that insight into this part of my expression. And I even leverage coaching at work. I'm sure my engineers, they've noticed it already. One even said it, and they appreciate it, right, because they're able to get even more from me and all. And the last two, because I know time is running out, I've talked about systems and structure, right? So you need to build systems and structure. The last two, gifts of men, people of God. Write the vision, make it plain so that those who read will run with you. Sometimes the vision or the ideas you receive, yes, you have like the basics to steward it, but I promise you, if it will scale and if it will outlive you, you can't do it alone. And so one thing I'm learning in my multi-expressions and everything is leaning into the gift of men, those God have brought to my life. I used to struggle. I tell my friend, I'm still transitioning. I'm trying. But and what I'm saying I'm trying is because naturally, I don't know why I was wired that way. Like, I'd rather be spent for people. I'd rather show up for you. I'd rather, so maybe that's my love language, acts of service. Just hint. So I'd rather be spent. So it was really a struggle receiving help. And at this point in my life where a lot of things are happening at the same time and most of this assignment, God is emphasizing them, I'm realizing I can't do them on my own. And so I'm not burnt out and people will not say you're doing too much. I have to use wisdom and lean into those God has brought my way, the gift of men, kind of leading them or kind of sharing the vision in such a way, so much conviction that they buy into it and God uses them to work with me. And the last one is as a multi-potentialite, lean on God like mad.
Like mad.
Because people are, again, you're dealing with humans, right? So they have their own stereotypes. They cannot give you what you are looking for. Even the motivate. You need to go to God because you're like God. Right? And so He's the only one that can understand. He's the only one that I get you. I really. Don't worry, I'm like that. Even me, they say I'm in the Old Testament, I'm a wicked God. In the New Testament, meanwhile, that's not the same God. Not the same. Even the Spirit of God has multiple expressions. So you're able to look to that and not to man and say, I'm normal. I'm normal. It's just so you guys are here to catch up. Right. And also praying and just Him helping you. And bringing teachers your way, because sometimes you get into seasons where God will not answer you in your prayer room. Funny enough, when I ask people how far for some assignment, they'll be like, I'm waiting on God. Your angels be looking at you in 3D. It's like, it's not me. Because God has already poured into people already on the earth. So you need them, you need to eat from the table they are eating. So many times when I'm praying, I'm noticing I'm not anything. I say, okay, send me teachers. So if me being a multi-potentialite is something I'm struggling with, send me prototypes. Send me people that are doing what you want me to do or like doing a part of what you want me to do, right? So that I know that I'm not alone. Just like Legacy Tribe. Remember when I told you I went to Ibuku and Washika's and I came across Oja Tribe? I felt seen, right? And so it helps me. I'm not burnt out, and I'm also able to lean into what God has called me.
Yes.
I am content in my calling. I am bold in my calling. It strengthens my conviction, and I'm able to show up as me. I said a lot. Jesus.
I love that. I mean, you spoke about systems and structures. You spoke about gift of men. You spoke about small beginnings. You spoke about leaning on God like mad. I really love that, like mad, for emphasis. And to be honest, the last question I was going to ask, I feel like you've already answered it.
Don't worry. I feel like I know you're going to.
You've already literally answered it. And I just want to like tell any young person who feels like maybe they're doing too much, who has felt like, oh, first of all, vet that you are not hopping around.
Yeah, that's very important.
And that the things that you're doing are actually things that you feel strongly, or you have been instructed, you have conviction to do, which Miracle has spoken about, right? And then you can decide that I'm going to have this laser focus, and that's all we're going to focus on, and we're going to get it done. But never feel like you cannot do too many things. Always feel like you can do it, you can make it, you can. If God has sent you, He has sent you with His provisions. He has sent you with every single thing that you need to do. So if you're somebody who is at the stage of they're telling you, wait your turn, who do you think you are? You're not ready.
Child of God.
You're not, all of this. Please go back to your prayer room and develop conviction, develop confidence in who God is and who He has called you and called you to be, and then go. I'm such a great student. Oh my God. My friend, they spit. Oh Jesus.
One and cashew nut for you.
But yes, to be honest, like, just know that God has called you to do this. You are not too much, right? And in fact, it's really just the beginning for you. I don't know if you have any last words for them.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
I'm such a great student. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Like you said, you are not too young to be used by God. As long as God is involved, forget it. Forget it. You're not too young to be used by God. You can be all He has called you to be. Just like Tofumi said, just always make sure you are constantly checking with God, because sometimes, there are extremes sometimes where, now I've told you you're not doing too much, you now actually go and do
different things,
right?
Yes.
So doing too much is less about the quantity and more about quality and how you show up. I wrote about it in one of my LinkedIn posts this week, that when you hear doing too much, now we're not talking about hopping around. We're talking about the quality of the work the fruits you produce, and also how it's connected to who God has called you, who God has called you to be. And so it's very important that I do that time to time, because again, there's every tendency as a multi-potentialite as well that a lot is going on. Right? And so sometimes just quick, you don't even have to be bashing something. It's just like, God, please, if I'm not on the right path, or I'm doing something, you have redirect my steps, right? Realize. So always praying those prayers from time to time, especially if you're concerned, and if it is His will, like, they should release grace to walk in it boldly, and to silence every other voice. Audience of one.
I love that.
Okay.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure having you here. Guys, Miracle and I started this podcast together. She has been there from the very beginning, and I'm so excited that she's finally on the couch. She might be back again. You never know. We'll decide. Who am
I?
If she's a good
global
girl.
stage. You know that thing where you just put the couch and people will just be in the audience. I'm jokingly serious, because we are going to play this video 2 years from now, right?
And we'll be there.
So follow,
like,
so that you say you were one of the people, days of little beginning. We don't wanna, you just came and please.
Thanks, my friend that said it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, share, what else?
Drop a comment
to this. Drop a comment.
What stood out for you?
Yes,
we really want to know that. What's your own
takeaway from it? What are your own experiences as well?
We'd love to hear.
We'd love to hear.
My fellow young people, Gen I, Gen Z, Gen all the
whichever generation you identify with,
tell us.
Let us know. It's been amazing being with you. Thank you guys, and see you next time. Bye.